Welcome to Charred Oak, the business, bourbon, and becoming podcast where bold ideas meet smooth pours. Hosted by entrepreneurs Matt Gerard and Shane Tice. This is your needed pour of inspiration, insight, and a splash of something strong. Each episode, Matt and Shane dive deep into the world of business, growth, and entrepreneurship, sharing real stories, practical strategies, and the mindset shifts that fuel success. Whether you're building your empire or just getting started, this is your space to learn, grow, and become. And of course, no episode is complete without the Bourbon of the Week, a curated tasting and review that pairs perfectly with ambition. So, pour a glass, pull up a seat, and let's build something great, one sip at a time.
Welcome back to Charred Oak. I'll be your host, Matt Gerard.
And I'm your co-host, Shane Tice. Matt, look, the new Charred Oak attire is in.
Oh, that is sharp. It is sharp.
It is.
I also have some great custom apparel going on today.
Yes.
Like this. This is nice. Great.
Crafted locally.
That was absolutely. And on today's episode, Ashley, I'm going to let you do your intro. Tell us a little about yourself, your business, all that good jazz.
I am Ashley Bick. I own Flight Deck Bar and Grill. I'm a global inspired pub. What else do you want me to talk about? How long have I been in business?
Well, start from the beginning. So what got you into like buying Flight Deck? Because honestly, I don't know a lot of your history prior to that. So have you always done the entrepreneurial thing, or is this?
No, I've always been in the restaurant industry. I actually started in the restaurant industry probably when I was in high school. I actually worked at Dairy Queen in town, where Dunkin' Donuts is now. I cooked there. I also decorated cakes, and I decorated cakes at the Dairy Queen in Dixon because it was the same owner. And then I actually transferred for college down to a Dairy Queen down in Charleston.
Okay.
Because I went to Eastern. And then I also waitressed at a restaurant down there. And then after college, I worked at Hickory Grove. So I worked for Robin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was her executive head chef and vice president of operations. So I ran her banquets, did her menus, and I was the chef there for 10 years I worked for her. And then from there, I went to Sodexo, which is like a food company. So like basically like Sodexo is going to be like, they're being colleges, schools, and they do the food beverage service for all of them. So
Okay,
I worked
yeah.
at the Convocation Center, and I was the executive chef there.
Okay. You were all over the food services
Yes.
world.
Yes. And then when I went corporate with Sodexo, I worked there for 3 years. And originally I'd taken that job because I worked a lot at Hickory Grove, and I kind of wanted to cut back and do a little bit less hours. I had just got together with my husband, and we were engaged, so I wanted not as many hours that I was working. So I took on that job where the general manager had told me it wouldn't be very like hours in the school year heavy and not in the summer. And I was like, perfect. You know, my son's little still. I'll get to spend time with him in the summers. And then about the first year in, that was the complete opposite. And they were like, you're really good at your job, so we're going to send you to all these different accounts and help all summer long. So I was running, you know, food and beverage for private concerts. I got to help be the executive chef for ZZ Top, which was really cool.
Well, that's awesome.
Nice.
That was like the only big one that I knew. The rest of them were kind of smaller, but I knew who ZZ Top was. And that one was really cool. And then I got to do some stuff for Teresa Caputo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. She had like a private list of food and specific brands that she had to have that I had to sign like a non-disclosure form for of the specific things that Teresa Caputo likes. So that was very interesting. So then after, you know, working 78 hours a week there, I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is what I did not sign up for this. So I ended up reaching out. Somebody had told me Flight Deck was hiring a general manager. So I reached out to Doug, who owned the Flight Deck at that time. And he brought me in we did a couple different interviews. He brought me in as the general manager. And about a year in, he was like, hey, I've been wanting to sell for a long time. Because he is very skydive oriented. He's a pilot.
Yep.
He knows the business. That's his passion. He added on the restaurant as a perk. for a skydiver, something extra. It's cool to watch people jump out of planes. Who doesn't want to watch people jump out of planes? But he was not familiar with the restaurant world.
Yeah.
And then it added a whole another piece onto his plate that he did not want to keep pursuing. So he asked me if I was interested in buying it. And at the time, I was pregnant with twins. And I was like, but he didn't know that yet. So I had reached out to my mom, who you know.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I think I want to do this, but I think I need a partner for the beginning because to have newborn twins and buy a restaurant sounds a little crazy, which is definitely crazy. But I did it. And then COVID happened, which was really cool. But we made it through that. And then once the first 5 years, my mom had told me she'd be my partner for 5 years. And then she would bow out, that she just wanted to make sure I had the support I needed through all of that, which was great. So now it's just me.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice. So two things. One, you said you did for ZZ Top
Yeah, that was cool.
trivia. ZZ Top trivia. Let's see how much.
Oh, no, I'm going to know none of this.
They have beards.
The beards, yeah.
What's the drummer's name?
Oh, I have no clue.
Frank Beard.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's a really cool name.
The only guy without a beard, his last name was
Yeah,
Beard.
that's hilarious.
Second one. Is a Dairy Queen cake really a cake? It's ice cream.
Some of them have cake. So there's two different kinds of Dairy Queen cakes. There's the ice cream cake, which has like the chocolate ice cream, and then it's got that cookie layer with the fudge, and then vanilla ice cream.
It's still
The
ice cream.
other one has actual chocolate cake in it. And
Really?
it has, or at least it used to 25 years
Oh.
ago. And it was chocolate cake with fudge and then ice cream.
Oh. I guess I never realized there was real cake and ice cream cakes.
So back in the day there was, but I can't guarantee anymore there is actually. But
And now I'm hungry, so thank you both for that, because I was just drinking my dinner, but whatever. All right, so then, how did you guys deal with COVID? That's a great one. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a great segue for anybody.
that was very difficult. I'm not going to lie. One really cool thing though that happened during COVID was Tom Demmer. Actually, well, originally Jason Anderson reached out to me. And he said, Ashley, he's like, I think I can help you. You are technically an airport restaurant. Let's figure out how to get you declared as an airport restaurant so you can open your doors back up. He's like, because technically you are. And I was like, oh my goodness, you're right. Like, I am, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, let's figure out what we got to do. So he reached out to Tom Demmer. Tom Demmer reached out to me. And he wrote like an official letter that I had to send to the health department so that the health department would let me reopen my doors. So I actually opened my doors a month before everybody else did.
Yeah, okay.
Which was very helpful. However, I did have, like, we moved all the bar stools, and we switched over a lot. We did the curbside pickups. We started doing more catering, which our catering has picked up quite a bit. So, like, last year, I purchased a catering truck because we do so much off-premise. Just because in general, too, we used to always rent out next door from the skydiving center. So from November through the end of March, we rent out the hangar, which holds up to 350 people, I would say, and then the pro shop, which holds up to about 80. But ever since COVID, people don't do parties as much.
Yeah.
Even like my holiday parties, I used to do a ton of in-house holiday parties at all my jobs I've ever had. But now I do more off-premise catering, where like I go to the office and I feed you there. And I feed your staff and everybody there, or I do like private dinners. So I've had like some private dinners like in the restaurant or smaller parties.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the big corporate ones that used to have parties don't. I know one big one that I help, and I do a coupon every year for is the Rochelle Hospital. So like during COVID, they stopped doing parties. And they used to rotate and try and keep it local. But the Rochelle Hospital stopped doing them and they started doing meat boxes. So Heddens does a meat box.
Okay.
And they also offer vegetarian boxes. So all of their staff, instead of doing a Christmas party that they hope everybody that can come comes, because obviously you still have to staff the hospital, everybody gets a box. And it's got, whatever different meats and different cuts of meat, or the vegetarian box has some cool stuff in it too. And he has all local restaurants and things that put coupons in it.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
cool.
a flight deck
Oh, that's
coupon
nice.
in all of his boxes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of neat. So like stuff like that I've helped like incorporate, which I started during COVID too. Like where can we kind of team up
And get creative with stuff.
and get creative. And I thought that was a great idea that he had, Mark from Heddens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Such a cool idea. So yeah, they do all sorts of cool stuff.
Interesting.
So that was kind of one of our.
That's actually a perfect segue. The concept of how much do you find yourself working with other businesses? Because this is something we talk about all the time on this podcast.
I try to a lot, just because I think it's very important to A, support other local business owners. B, because they're also the ones that are supporting us. Because I do prefer to shop local anytime that I can, especially with small business owners. Even stuff on my menu, you know, I try to get all of like my nicer cuts of steaks I get from Heddens. The distillery here in town, I've had Kenny Farms on our menu since they opened.
Yeah.
And now I carry Rockin' Vodka. And I just brought in their new bourbon. I don't know if you tried it. They just had a launch
Bella Rio.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
it's
Bella
Bella
Rio.
Rio.
Yeah, Bella Rio. I just brought that in. And we're going to do a tasting thing with that. And they have some great products. Cheesecake Co., obviously. Caitlin's a wonderful person, and she launched out
Yes.
of Flight Deck 2, which was really cool.
That is very neat that she got that origination through you guys.
Yes. And then I try to always get my local shirts and attires and stuff, either from 926 I've ordered from before, Midwest Clothing I've ordered from before. And then actually one of my staff members does some stuff on the side, and she does some stuff for me sometimes too. So I try to do a little bit from everybody as much as I can as far as business-wise. But I do like the vendor fairs, things like that.
Yes. The vendor fairs are always a nice touch.
Yes.
It gets everybody a chance that might not otherwise be able to kind of to dip into that. I just like how much you guys not just network, but you guys realize it and appreciate that. We were talking about it earlier off camera. We were like, oh yeah, one of my people heard you walk in the bar and ask for the angriest beer we had. I'm glad that they make note of us. That or they're like, we don't want this guy here anymore. Ashley, can you get rid of him? But whatever.
As Dana and I are
definitely a
drinking
good thing.
Corona.
Definitely a good thing.
It was Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. They all end in day.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Oh, it
Although
is
we didn't have tacos.
We didn't have
I didn't
Taco
even think
Tuesday.
about that.
I didn't either. We're doing tacos Friday.
Yeah,
we had
are.
tacos on special last
I
night.
know, and I
We
saw
did.
that.
We
and
saw that, and we didn't even do it.
I have a hard time getting past the steak sandwich. I go down the menu and I'm like, oh, canopy
one's
wrap.
good.
I like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's good too. Steak sandwich. Yep, that's where we're going with.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
It is.
And then
It
I
was good
realized
last
you have
night.
pickle fries, which is the best thing ever.
Yeah, because they're better than pickle chips and pickle spears.
They are. 110% agree with that completely. And I didn't see it
I
coming.
think like they're the best meat in the middle.
I didn't even know you guys had them until yesterday.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, Dana loves them.
Yeah.
I'm
She's a
down.
huge fan.
Does she always get the firecracker shrimp too?
She did yesterday.
She didn't yesterday.
No?
I think she went through a firecracker shrimp kick.
She did go through a kick. 'cause
Yeah,
I felt
and
she-
then-
she was getting that every time.
Yep. And then I think she kind of got off of it, and she hardly eats anymore. Like, well, she's on a medication that just ruins her appetite.
that's
so,
yeah.
I mean,
Much lower calorie
Yeah.
count than normal.
yeah. So like, she got a sandwich last night. She ate half of it,
Ate
and then
half
she
of
brought the other half for lunch today.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it works. We
Yeah.
get 2 meals for one.
Oh, there you go.
You know, but
That's a good deal then.
yeah.
It is.
So, but yeah, she doesn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah. Okay, so here's one because we've delved into a bunch of random businesses now at this point. So restaurant business, what do you think are kind of unique challenges that you face in that line of work that we don't in like the retail sector or the custom sector or dealer's choice?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I feel like one of the, it probably moved more of a similar, right? Because my area is more, I'm slower in the winter,
Yeah.
obviously. Being connected to a skydiving center, all those things. But I feel like it's super unpredictable. You know, like I'll give you a really good example. I was just talking to one of my front of house managers, Terry, today about it. And I was like, it's so crazy because I'm having such a hard time staffing right now. Not necessarily because I'm short-staffed, but because I'm unpredictably staffed customer-wise.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? So, like, the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, every single day, lunch and dinner, you're consistently pretty
Yeah.
busy. So I needed at least 2 people up front and 2 people in the back every day. So I was constantly like, I'd be like, okay, it's slow. I'm going to go home. Then I get a phone call like SOS. I'm on my way back, because I don't want my staff drowning. And I can do all the things. I can work up front. I can bartend. I can cook. I'll do dishes. Doesn't matter to me. I'm always done. Like, I'll get my hands dirty. Doesn't matter. So I'm like, I have a hard time because, like, there are certain times that I can't be here. And then I'm like, well, do I put somebody on? But then I end up just sending them home. Or they'll text me. They'll be like, hey, it's super dead. I'm going to go. So, like, the one Tuesday, we were slammed for lunch. And we probably could have used an extra person. So the next Tuesday, I put an extra person in, and I did a quarter amount of the sales from what I did the following Tuesday for lunch. And we didn't do anything different.
You sure?
So it wasn't like the weather was it was about the same weather. It's winter, right? No difference. Like, it wasn't like we had some crazy special that people were coming for. It's just bizarre to me. I feel like the restaurant industry is very unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bizarre, especially post-COVID.
Yes.
Because going out to eat, period, was a lot more common.
Yes.
And you can tell me if I'm wrong on this one because you're going to have a better knowledge. I feel like takeout has gone way up compared to what it was 10 years ago.
Yes, yeah. Actually bringing in, last year I brought in DoorDash in November. And DoorDash, between DoorDash and our online ordering platform, which is just, I recommend the online. If you like to pick up your food, I do have some people who order through DoorDash who I'm assuming have like that monthly membership
Yeah.
fee, so it probably doesn't cost them extra, but DoorDash is kind of pricey to be able to order food on DoorDash. So I recommend doing it on the actual online ordering platform because you don't have all the extra fees.
Yeah.
And then you just pick it up at the restaurant. But between online and DoorDash, it makes up, last year, it was about 14%.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
That is a ton of chunk that
Yeah.
that I would not have expected to be that high.
Yeah, which is I was not expecting it to be that high.
Yeah.
But it makes a huge difference,
Okay.
especially in the winter.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's when it's heavier too, because in the summer people are leaving.
Yeah.
They don't mind going to pick up their food,
Sure.
or they want to go out to eat. In the winter they're cold, or
Yeah.
they're busy with school, running kids around, whatever they're doing, and they're wanting it at their doorstep when they get home or picking it up on their way home.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I love your guys' food, which is why you're one of like the 3 restaurants I actually go to in town all the time, like regularly. But I like the ambiance.
Yeah.
That's actually more important to me than the food is.
Yeah.
I like the environment. I like the
Yeah.
people. I like the
Yeah.
service, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of wild, but it's nice. Like you said, it's a nice supplement during the winter when people
Yes.
don't want to go out.
Yeah.
They're still willing to
Yep.
kind of make that.
It helps. And I would say there's not usually a day, I don't think I have had a day where I haven't had an online, a DoorDash, or a pickup order in general.
Wow.
How do you deal with waste and wastage? Like I've never understood this part of your business, how to keep things fresh and how to order properly. And obviously you didn't have. There's trends that you can go by, but like you said, you have a Tuesday where you're hopping, and then you got a Tuesday where you're dead as a doorknob.
Yes. So that's when usually, so that's why we cross-utilize so much on the restaurant and like an actual menu where you see things numerous times.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way many years ago. Like, you can't have, some crazy bizarre thing on the menu and have it only on there once. Like, you got to put it in at least 4 things.
Yeah.
3 to 4 things you're using it so that it's not going bad. My orders are much smaller in the winter, which helps. And I do supplement, like there's the GFS store in Rockford,
Yeah.
which is restaurant supplies and food and all that. So I usually do a small truck once or twice a week. And then if I have to go to the store in between, I just go up to the GFS store and get whatever products I need to get me until my next truck. Versus like in the summer, I bring in much bigger trucks because I know we'll be going through it.
Yeah, you move the material.
Yeah.
I move material a lot faster. But in the winter, I have to be a lot more careful. So I just keep my margins a lot smaller, and I keep my inventory way, way small.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So with training new employees, so I'm going to move on. I'm just going to be all over the boards here because you've got a unique business compared to everybody else we've kind of talked to this point.
Yeah, to this point, for sure.
So when you're dealing with, like the inventory is huge for me because my inventory doesn't necessarily go bad. The only
Right.
drawback to my inventory is cash is tied up.
Yep.
That's the sucky part of it. But I got into this question with somebody once. They asked me because I once a year I'll go through my inventory, and if it's been on the shelf more than a year, I will slash the price like a half off. I am
Yeah.
losing money on that item. And I had somebody come in, a friend came in, and he's like, "You got to be losing money." I'm like, "Yep." Well, that's bad business sense. I'm like, I'll get that money back from you tomorrow, buy something that'll sell, and I'll sell it 4 times over and make up for the loss.
Yep.
Does that work? If I'm only making 5% on something, or it's worse, my money is tied up. I could have put it in the stock market and made 10% last year. It doesn't make sense to just kind of sit there. So when you have inventory that you can't sit on,
Right.
and like you said, it sounds like you design your menu specifically so you utilize
Yes.
with as much overlap as humanly possible.
Yes. Or I run, like last week, I slow cooked a birria roast, and I made homemade birria. So I slow cooked it for like 10 hours, and I knew it was like, it was 20 pounds I did, and I'm like, I got to make sure we sell this though, right? So I ran it in like 6 different things. So I made soup out of it, I made quesabirria, I made birria gnocchi. So I was making sure that we were using it in multiple aspects versus, and then, when it came down to it on Sunday, on our last day of running it, we threw it in a burrito and did a birria breakfast burrito, which was delicious and beautiful. And then it made sure that we also cross-utilized our product enough.
So who does your menu design now? Because I know globally inspired, so you have stuff from all over the place on your menu, which is very, very neat. Is that something that you're still producing, or do you have your lead in the kitchen do that, or how are you doing that now?
It's me and then my head chef and my sous chef, and then I usually try and get a lot of feedback from my front of house too, because they're the ones that deal with the customers. So I'll pull everything out of the system. So my POS system is great too, because it'll pull, I can pull it by items, obviously. So it'll tell me, you sold this many of this last year. So then I'll know, like, I'm going to pull that. That's my bottom one. People are not ordering that one as much.
Yeah.
So I'll pull that one out. But my front of house is great because they'll tell me, like, hey, people have been asking for this. Like, and I've brought stuff back from old menus that people have asked for because they really wanted to see it back on the menu. And then we do taste kitchens. So I do some really cool taste kitchens with Cisco and PFG, which are my main 2 reps. And I tell them what we're looking for. So like they've seen our menus, and then I'll tell them, hey, we're looking for these kind of items for our next menu. And then they'll put them in front of me. We'll try them all. We'll bring in some of the stuff, test out some recipes, make sure it's doable. And then I'll price point it all out to figure out how we're going to price it. And then we'll put it on the new menu. We used to do it twice a year. So we used to do a menu change in beginning of May for the new season, and then November for the winter season. And then we stopped about 2 years ago because I started pulling, as I was pulling numbers, those were my big loss months. So it was always falling on my menu change, which makes sense because I have a lot of new product coming in and a lot of product loss.
Yeah.
Because I'm swapping everything out. So we had decided then we were going to do 1 menu change a year, and we do it like at the launch of the busy season. So instead we launch it every April. So coming by May, when it starts to get really busy, we'll have that menu down.
Yeah. And then
We've been practicing it for a month in our slower season-ish still. Yeah. And then we're on it come May.
So then as the months progress, do you start deleting stuff that isn't, so will you reprint the menu to be like, okay, we're not changing anything, but we're removing things. So do you do that?
Yeah, so I can reprint it then. Yeah. So I actually get all of my menus printed at Hub Remington. And then I laminate them all myself. So I design them all, and then we laminate them in-house. So then I just do a reprint.
Gotcha. Then you can just be like, okay, screw this. This isn't doing it.
Yes.
We're wasting time. We're wasting money. We're wasting effort.
And usually it's a reprint because I'm a really bad speller. Yes. So now I have, like, all my staff has to do at least 1 spell check for me and double check my grammar and my commas. Because I've, like, laminated a bunch of menus, and then I can't remember which word it was. I think it was Caesar dressing. I had spelled different in 3 different spots.
Oh, no.
You spell like
and
I
had
spell.
a customer point it out, which was super embarrassing. Because then I was like, oh, I didn't even, like, my staff didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. And now it's on all these menus. It's on the internet.
It's so bad when that happens, too, because we've done that. You know, like
Same.
a simple word that your mind just looks at it and goes, yeah, that's right. And then you embroider it, or you print a bunch of shirts and you send it out. And then 2 weeks later, they come back and go, yeah, so this is spelled wrong. And you look at it and you're like, no, oh, it is. Oh, crap. You know, it's like, how did we go from production to approval to print to customers giving it to their, employees or whatever it is. And then one of the employees' grandma's mother's friend says, that's spelled wrong,
Yep.
and it's like, oh no.
We already printed them all.
I lasered somebody's cuffs wrong from the sheriff's office. He came and he's like, he spelled it. It's OG, not OLG. I'm like, what? What are you talking? Oh, son of a. He's like, it's okay. I'm quitting next week. He works at Rochelle now. It's fine. I was like, well, son of a. I still bought him an extra set of cuffs because I felt bad because I ruined his cuffs.
Yeah, right.
Son of a. Ugh.
So with your menu, now I know in my experience with Doug and, doing all the Flu Talk stuff and Woody and Becky and whatnot, one of the challenges with the flight deck was always the size of the kitchen.
Yes.
Because it is a small kitchen.
It's a
But
small
I've
kitchen.
noticed with you, you've done a fantastic job of overcoming that. And is that part of just from the menu that you consider that? Or?
Yes, from the menu. And my head chef that I have now has been at Flight Deck since before me. So when I managed, he was a line cook. And then when my mom and I bought the restaurant, we actually promoted him up. So he had been there for, I think, 3 or 4 years before I was even there.
Oh, okay.
So one cool thing about him is that he had seen multiple chefs in that kitchen before him, and seen all the things that he knew we couldn't pull off. And as a customer there myself before, I also knew the things that I thought that they couldn't pull off. And being in the industry for so long, being able to work in that kitchen myself. And it's more there are some things that we can pull off more in the winter, obviously.
Sure.
But not in the summer.
Yeah.
There are a lot of stuff in the summer that it's just not going to happen. And a big part of it is it's such a small kitchen. And I've had people ask me that before on different things, why don't you do this? And I'm like, because it cannot happen in the summer. Because what you see is what you get. And they're like, oh, there's not some big other prep kitchen back there. I'm like, no, it's a dish pit.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a dish pit, there's a little tiny dry storage area,
Yep.
and then there's the cooler. That's it. When you're prepping, I actually set up, when we do catering in the summer, which is a little bit more difficult, obviously, for me to pull off, we set up prep tables in the cooler. And we will prep, because our cooler is actually pretty big. So you can set up a table right there in the cooler.
Yeah.
And we can pan up all of our veggies and everything right there, versus trying to pull everything out, and then you're in the way of the kitchen,
Sure.
and the guy's doing dish.
Yep.
It gets really clustery back there. Especially, it's one of my favorite spots to make charcuterie boards is in the cooler.
You have a unique outside opportunity there too, because do you still have the outside bar?
Yeah, so we have the outside bar area in the courtyard,
Yeah.
essentially.
Has
which
it still got a
connected to
grill
the
and stuff out
patio.
there? Do you utilize that? Or?
We did for a couple seasons. That one was also hard to pull off, because most of the stuff on the grill we would make and then almost do concession style.
Okay.
But especially when I had big events like the 4th of July, we have so many vendors out there. We bring in Ralphie's Barbecue. We usually bring in the Tapa, the new one.
Oh,
They come in now.
not Tapatio.
But they're the family kitchen. That's what I
Yeah.
call it because I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I know what you're talking about, though.
But they do a great job. And before they opened their storefront, they were doing stuff out there with their licenses and stuff. They did some off-premise stuff, which was really cool. And then the Kiwanis does hot dogs. So when people come in, especially at my big events, and I already have food vendors, they're like, I'm not going to get
Right.
a cheeseburger
Yeah,
over
right.
here. If I'm going to eat at Flight Deck, I want to eat, which
Flight Deck
is a good
food.
thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
because
right.
I have done a lot with the menu where people are like, I'm not coming here for a cheeseburger off the grill out here.
Right.
I'm going to come in and sit and I want to eat the 4-cheese mac.
Right.
Or if I want something fast, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get some kebabs from Ralphie's and a hot dog from the Kiwanis, maybe grab some tacos.
Yeah.
So I think the grill itself, that part, we have a couple different events this coming summer that we're going to utilize it at, and maybe run it a different way and see if that works better. But yeah, it did not. At the end of the
Still
night,
a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a cool atmosphere,
Yeah.
and we love doing the
Absolutely.
bar. Always does really good out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the food itself out there does not
Just-
sell very well.
The whole airport environment's very unique, even though I don't think Rochelle gets a lot of actual aviation traffic. Or do you see a decent amount of I know there's some.
Yes. I do, obviously weather depending, but again, which is weird, you know, like 3 Sundays ago, I think it was beautiful out.
Yeah.
It was cold, but it was the first day in like probably 2 weeks that it was clear skies. And we open at 9 on Sundays for brunch. And by 9:30, there were 6 planes parked out front and like 20 pilots sitting inside.
That's awesome.
That they had all flown in. They had all called each other that morning to fly out for breakfast, which is really cool. And I love it kind of in the winter too, because they can actually pull their planes up front versus you don't have to leave them parked down at the airport. You can taxi all the way up to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is really cool too. So then we can see all the planes out front.
That is really cool.
And then the customers like it too, because in in the summer they get to see the skydivers, and if they know it's a nice day in the winter, they'll probably see some pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some airplanes out back too, which is kind of cool.
Well, and Rochelle's airport has got some pretty good national attention, like, especially social media, like YouTube stuff. There's a
Yes.
lot of pilots that vlog now,
Yeah.
their cross-country trips and whatnot. And I've watched several, I'd say probably a half dozen different pilots that have flown into Rochelle and actually been in the restaurant and, videotaped and
Yeah.
like, oh, this is kind of neat and da-da-da. It's like, hey, I know that place.
Yeah. That's cool. And that's really cool when you see the pilots fly in and stuff, which is neat. And then I always ask them, like, where they're from. I get a lot of trainees in.
Yeah.
So a
Yep.
lot of, like, pilots in training.
The DeKalb one, they fly into here all the time. DuPage flies in here all
Yeah.
the time, I know. There's a school up in Rockford that flies down here all the time.
Yeah, 'cause
Quad
there's like
Cities.
there's like one group of students that all summer they were coming in like every Friday, and they would all fly together, and then they had their 2 teachers with them, and they would have lunch every Friday.
Oh, cool.
And I thought that was really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is really neat. I know Rochelle's airport has an interesting reputation because pilots come here for your restaurant specifically, and a lot of them are afraid to come to Rochelle because they're afraid of the skydivers.
Oh, sure.
Because it's
Sure.
a whole different like aviation thing that
Yeah.
even a lot of flight instructors are like, we don't deal with this. There's not that many places people are just jumping out of planes, and when their drop zone is off the runway,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
what do we do with this? We don't even know
Yeah.
what to do with this. So I know there's a lot of them that are in the area that are
I
kind
didn't
of
even think about that. Yeah, and that makes
Well, and
sense.
especially when you're in an uncontrolled airspace.
yes,
You're on the edge of Rockford, but you're still relying on other pilot communication, and
Yeah.
skydivers don't carry radios.
No, and it's untowered. All you get is whatever they're calling on the radio. And skydive planes are a whole different animal to navigate in and
Yeah.
of themselves.
Yeah.
The biggest gripe, though, and I can attest to this because I've landed at Rochelle, is we don't have full-length taxiways. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sounds dumb, but
Is it? So it's shorter? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, the taxiway only goes like halfway down the runway and only a quarter down the other way. So in order to get to the end of the runway, you have to pull onto the runway, go all the way to the end, turn around, and then take off. When you run a skydiving plane and you do it every day, it doesn't bother you. But for everybody else, you're just like, what if somebody's like coming into land as I'm getting ready to go and we're staring at each other?
Yep.
Obviously, they should be waving off, but it's one of those things that everybody's kind of like, this is
sense.
different.
Yeah.
But it's still a popular airport. I
Yeah.
think I don't think they have any vacant hangars right now. So
I don't think so.
The airport's
'Cause I feel
full.
like they were talking about building more at one point.
They have been. There's some talks about expanding that, which I think would be good for, well, you guys especially. The more hangars you got, because people will hang out in their hangars and drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not supposed to, but they do. And I know a bunch of the hangars, there's been some complaints that people are getting hangars and using them for things they're not supposed to. Like just general storage. They're using them as storage because it's,
Yeah.
I think the cheaper T hangars are like $100 a month or $90 a month.
Super cheap.
Yeah, and it's more square footage than you would get going to a storage unit. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm totally using that for an airplane.
Yeah.
And how do you
Yeah.
how do you monitor that? But
That's where I'm keeping the boat next year. Shh.
we'll get it together.
Yeah, there you go.
'Cause
We'll
I
put
got
your-
my airplane.
We'll put your plane in it.
We can put
and
my plane
boat
in it, and
next
your
to
boat will
it,
be right
and
next to it. Nobody will know the difference.
There you
It'll
go.
be great.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
got
a
this
great
figured
idea.
out.
That is a good idea. And then I have a hangar.
I like it.
It's better storage in the garage.
Truth.
I love everything about this.
Yep.
Yeah, that is neat though that you get into that. Do you guys get like a lot of like you mentioned the travel blogs and stuff like that and the YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. Do you guys see that or get told a lot about it? Hey, by the way, we're going to do a piece on flight deck, etc. I know you guys have won some awards over the years. Do you see much of that on a regular basis? Little bit, sometimes never.
A little bit more in the summer, obviously. We did have, and I asked, and I still never. I gave him my email, like my business card, because I wanted to see the video once he posted it. But there was a really cool family in over the summer, and he was paralyzed from, I believe, the waist down, and he had a videographer with him the whole time, and they were doing a documentary.
Oh, cool.
And a big part of his documentary was like experiences and things like that. And this was a huge part of it. So they taped like inside the restaurant, in the courtyard. They were there almost all day.
Oh, cool.
Because obviously he jumped as well, because you have somebody attached to you. And that one was really cool, but I still never got to see it, so I don't know. Or I don't know if it's done yet, maybe too, because that one was an actual documentary. Then we had a really cool one, which I wouldn't have known until a customer had sent it to me, that it was some girl that was viral on TikTok. And she took a video at the restaurant drinking like mimosa flights. And then her boyfriend jumped that day. And that one was really cool. And then there was another one that was like, they're called Adventure Seeker, I think. And they're also like they're a viral couple that do like adventures together.
Yeah.
And they came out, skydived, came and ate at the restaurant. I did watch some of their stuff, which was pretty cool too.
Neat.
But I do feel like I see a lot of like people coming in, videotaping things like that are, but those are the only ones that I know that were somewhat bigger.
Yeah.
I guess I would say,
Well, that's kind of neat.
which was kind of cool.
That is very neat
Yeah.
because it gives you a different level of exposure that you wouldn't get.
Yes.
Right.
Like a local restaurant typically
Right.
would not see.
Right. Or like just your normal like advertising, right?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
a totally different experience for
Yeah.
sure.
That's really neat. And the nice thing is you're attached to the place that travelers will utilize,
Yes.
which is the best part,
Yes.
especially with the
Yeah.
pilot community.
Yeah, because there's like a cool Facebook page that I'm a part of that's a pilot group. It's like Northern Illinois or Midwest. It's like a Midwest pilots group.
Yeah.
And I post specials and stuff in there sometimes. A local pilot had showed me it and told me to be a part of it and post stuff in there. And then there's two different apps. One of them's like a pilot stop app, and then another one is a truck driver stop app.
Oh, makes sense.
And it shows you like where you can go that, like you could fly into for pilots, and then where you can go that you could pull in and meet for truck drivers, or that's like truck driver friendly, pilot friendly, those kind of things. So like I try to stay updated on that kind of stuff too.
That's really neat. Do you ever coordinate with other airport restaurants at all, or just like spy on them?
I actually talked to during COVID.
What?
Yeah, during COVID, Pilot Pete's.
Oh yeah, I grew up in that area. I was there 2 weeks ago.
He called me
Oh, okay.
because he was like, "Hey, somebody told me you opened your doors. How'd you do that?" So I went through the whole spiel, gave him the advice, told him to contact, his local representative, and tell him to call me if he needed any more answers. And then he had thanked me later that helped. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
so yeah, I had talked to him before, but that's really the only other one. I'm trying to remember where Sherry told me to go. There's one that her and her husband fly to, Sherry Hayes.
Yeah.
Is that
It's
the one in
not Pilot
Janesville?
Pete's. Maybe it's the one in Janesville.
Janesville's got a pretty decent, or they used to. I don't know if they still do. I think it's still open.
What's that one called? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Because there's one that she told me to check out, and she was
Yeah.
like, "You'd really like it, and it's different, similar concepts than what you do." And I was like, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah. I haven't been to a restaurant with them before or mentioned that. We've talked about a couple of the stops that they do on their regular like routes and stuff, but they fly a lot. That's neat though.
And then I try to trend from, I'll like look up places in California,
Yeah.
like restaurants and things like that, see what they're doing.
That makes sense. Yeah, it keeps you kind of up on.
Like up on the trends, and I had a couple in, because I try to do different flights and stuff. And I did the Girl Scout cookie flights last year during Girl Scout cookie season,
Yeah, I remember that.
which will be back for our Galentine's Day event this year, because they blew up. Like, I just was like, this is really cool. I love the idea of like Girl Scout cookies, because it's a bunch of girls selling. I'm a woman business owner. It's another woman entrepreneur. So I brought in a couple of my customers sell Girl Scout cookies, and I brought her in numerous years in a row, and she always sells Girl Scout cookies in the restaurant. So I was like, let's do this flight and see how it goes. And it blew up, and we were way, way busier than I thought we were going to be that day. So we were kind of drowning most of the day, keeping our head above water. And one of the couples, the girl had called me over, and she was like, I just want to say thank you, Ashley. And I was like, for what? She's like, we love that you do such cool stuff here that you would only be able to get in Chicago. She's like, but I can always tell people, like, no, I can get that in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, thank you. So I thought, well, that's really cool.
You
So
do.
that's why I like to do some of that different stuff that I know people want, but they don't want to drive to Chicago.
Yeah,
to get it.
sure.
I've done a bunch of. I've done the world tour, the curated meal
Oh,
drink
yes,
pad.
yeah.
I've done that 2 or 3 years running now,
Yeah.
and those are always a great time.
Yes, yep.
Everything is fantastic.
Those ones are fun.
Those are a lot of fun. When's the next one?
March.
Yes.
Yes, that one will be in March. So we're working on the menu for that one now, and we'll probably launch the date and the tickets in the next couple weeks for that one. And then we're doing our next cocktail class. So we did our first craft cocktail class like a month and a half ago. It was right after Thanksgiving. And it went very good. Or it was the Sunday before Thanksgiving, actually. But I probably should have, cut off ticket sales. Because we had so many people in there. And it was just me and Taylor, and then my daughter, Alyssa, ended up staying to help us because there were so many people. And it was our first class. So what ideally we wanted to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours long was 3.5.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
But everybody had a really good time.
That's what counts.
And I had food out for everybody. So there were 10 cocktails, and they could pick 3 to make. But we taught them how to make all 10.
Okay.
So then we broke them into groups, and then everybody got to make their own cocktail. Because I've done a lot of different make and take classes
Yeah.
in the area with different vendors and things like that, because I think it's really cool to learn. And I like the ones you actually get to do it. I've done one class where I had to watch, and then I was like, what do you mean I don't get to play with this stuff? I want to do it,
Yeah.
So this one I was like, it's really important to me for you guys to do it yourself.
Yep.
I will teach you, I'll go through it with you, but I want you to shake it, I want you to stir it, I want you to learn how to shake the egg whites, how to make the cold foam, all those things. And they loved it. So this one we just launched. I'm like, maybe we'll condense it. So now I had a couple regulars that kind of gave me some advice on it, and they're like, we do classes like this, in the suburbs. If you condense it and do a whiskey class, a tequila class, and then offer similar food with it, it'll bring your number down a little bit
Yep.
and be a little bit more manageable, and you'll hit those target people
Yep.
instead.
Yep.
So the next one we're doing is tacos and tequila.
Nice.
And we have 6 drinks you could choose from instead of 10. And then you'll get to learn how to make 3.
Cool.
And then we did a cap on ticket sales.
Nice.
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, I don't think we can do 50 people again with just the 2 of us. That was a lot. Which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when then you do 50 times 3 cocktails per person,
Sure.
plus you're teaching all 10, I'm like, I think between her and I helping and creating, it's 300 and something drinks.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
That gets exciting fast.
Yes, yeah. So that was a really fun one, though, that we did. So we're going to keep doing those ones. Our one in March will be whiskey. It's a whiskey and wings class.
I'm sold.
Whiskey and wings.
Yeah,
Nice.
whiskey and wings.
Nice.
I'm a simple creature, but that pretty much sums up my life. So
Yeah, whiskey and wings, and we're going to do it right before St. Patty's Day.
okay. Well, I'll be there.
So I feel like whiskey ties into St. Patty's Day, obviously, too.
I'll be there. I don't know if you're going to go to it with me or not, but
Sure.
Will Patrick will
I'm
do
there.
it with me too, so I'll drag him along.
Yeah.
He's a whiskey drinker. A couple other guys in town.
Sounds
There
good
you
to
go.
me.
That'll be an easy one. All right, I think we're right around what?
45 minutes.
5 minutes. The one big thing that I wanted to cut on here, because we try to keep them at about an hour, just because I think people lose their interest after about 50 minutes of hearing me talk, which I don't blame you. I'm sorry. I was born this way.
I can't even get a word in edgewise.
It's a face for radio and a voice for comic books, and we're doing an audio-video experience, so my bad. That's why we bring in the guests. I do want to talk about the staffing thing, because that's huge, because you probably, with the exception of one of us so far, you're probably the only one with the largest payroll of anybody. So you've got a lot of, I'm going to call them campaigners that have been with you for a long time.
Yes.
You've got a lot of consistent
Yes.
staff. The ones that aren't as consistent, do you find, how hard do you find it finding help in general, just to start with?
For a little bit there, I want to say a couple years ago, it was a little bit harder. It's harder for me to find back of the house help in the kitchen than it is front of the house. Everybody always wants to waitress and bartend because they know it's cash tips, it's decent money. So no matter if I'm hiring or not, I at least have 2 people a month that message me and ask me if I'm hiring servers or bartenders. The back house is a lot harder to hire for, I think, because it requires more certifications, B, being a line cook does not pay as much as being a bartender.
Sure.
Hourly, yes, but with the tips, obviously, your front of house staff usually makes more money than the back of the house. So that part is a little bit harder for me on the back of the house. The front of the house, a lot of it is, I have a lot of the core staff.
Yeah.
So I would say, and I really don't have, from like when I first came in managing, I have 2 of the same in the back, which is my head chef and my sous chef, who are both great. And then everybody else in the back is new. My front of house, I don't have anybody from when I originally managed it, unless you would include Caitlin Glavick, who I'm sure would come help me if I needed help. Would be the only one I think originally from when I managed. However, I do have my head bartender and manager Taylor has been there with me since I bought it. Like, she was one of my first hires.
Yeah.
As well as Sandra Garcia has been there with me since then too. So those would be my 2 front of house that have been there the longest. The rest of them have been hires through friends, I would say, or people I've known. 2 of my kids work for me. Technically 3, because the other one works for me in the summer. He's just not old enough.
Yeah.
Because he'll be 15 in March. And then also in my back of house, I have 3 siblings that all work there, because one of them started working for me when he was 16. Then introduced me to his sister. She wanted to be a line cook, hired her. Introduced me to their little brother, who happens to be my son's best friend. Wanted to be a line cook, hired him. My 2 managers right now are mother-daughter. The mom is actually one of my very close friends. One of my other servers, Dana, she's actually a full-time teacher, and her daughter works for me too. So I have them who came in as a pair. She was like, hey, do you need help? Let's bring her in. I'm like, let's do it. Let's bring her here. So I feel like a lot of my staff is intertwined.
Relationships work better than just outright, hey, come on in and let's do an interview.
Yes. Yeah, so that works out really good. And then like Sandra, who's worked for me one of the longest too, Garcia, 3 of her sisters have worked for me, and one of them still does. And she has a full-time job too. Monse works for me. And then she's brought me a few people here and there to help out when we need extra help and things like that.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say I'm probably a little bit pickier when it comes to hiring. I prefer to hire somebody that I know through somebody.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think you need experience in any of the positions I would originally hire for, because I'd rather train you anyway to how I want you to do it.
I run my shop the same way with new hires, because I've had a lot of people drop off resumes and stuff like that. Came in, oh, I've got military experience, I've got law enforcement experience. I'll be honest, my best hires have been 0 or no, with the exception of Brad. My best hires had 0 experience when they came through, and they're my best staff because I didn't have to unfuck
Yes, yeah.
old habits or well, in my
Yes.
previous restaurant, we did it this way.
Yes.
I don't care.
Right.
This is the way we do it here.
Right.
And I do agree with that. I feel like sometimes it's easier to mold a new mind than to unmold
Yeah.
For sure.
one a different way.
Especially if they think the old way was right.
Yes, yeah. Which makes a difference. But yeah, typically, I very rarely actually put out anything that says, like, accepting applications. Anything like that, I usually just do word of mouth. Like, hey, we're going to need somebody this summer. Feel around your people.
Yep.
If you got somebody you think that's looking for some extra hours this summer, let me know. And most of them stay there and they want to move up. You know, I have a host of mine that started out as a host, Olive, and they moved up serving now, probably going to bartend this summer. So that's kind of nice.
And that's probably the best way, because they're putting their reputation on the line by saying, hey, that, my best
Yes.
friend or my
Yeah.
friend or my neighbor, they're vetting them for
They're
you,
vetting them for
basically.
me, yes.
Right. Yeah.
Which is great, because I think that makes a big difference too. One of my other, and it's nice too, because some of my temp help, like when I bring in help just for the summer, are some of those employees, the ones that started out as hosts for me that are now college students. And I don't have hours for them come the end of August anyway. So they come in, they work all summer, and they go back to school, come back, work all summer. And one of them, Kaden, she actually works down at her school in the winter usually. And when she came back last summer to work for me, and I was the only restaurant she ever worked at because she started out as a host and then moved up. And she was like, man, I hated this restaurant I worked at. She's like, the manager was horrible, the boss was horrible, they yelled at everybody the whole time. And I was like, man, I'm so grateful to go back for the summer and work with Ashley. And I was like, well, good. I said, that's good. I said,
Don't
but
you
you were
forget
really
it.
good at your job. And she's like, yeah, they always put me on the biggest section. And I was like, well, there you go. You're welcome. You always got the biggest tables. So kind of that, too. It's nice to know that they have somewhere to come back to for the summers, too.
Yeah. It's kind of like recruiting versus truly like,
Yes.
I know other businesses in town, they're like, oh yeah, I put listings on Indeed, and they're like, I get nothing but crap.
Yeah.
When you know people and you have those connections and it's unique, and especially in your field, because you get to recruit. Like I've got a plumber friend who's like, I'm dying to find bodies, but the only people you interact with from a customer standpoint is people that need the help. They don't have, they can't provide the service, so you don't have a pool to draw from. Like your line of work, you have the people, et cetera, and then you run everybody goes to restaurants.
Yeah.
So you can kind of pick and choose, and when you have those relationships, you make, your friends come in, your family comes in, they all work for you too, apparently, and then that gives you this bigger pool that you can be like, okay, this is something that I actually want to, or you can tell people, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and like you said, they self-vet for you.
Yes.
Versus a lot of the other industries can't
Yep.
do that. I recruit for my classes. That's the beautiful thing about the class side is, who are my students?
Yep.
Cool. You're not a dick. How would you like to, how do you want a hobby job?
Yep.
Right.
Because that's what mine is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in my situation, is mine's a hobby job that's not career setup. I don't have that mechanism in place. Who wants a hobby job? I'm like, well, what are the perks? And then we rattle off. You get range usage. We have machine guns you can borrow. And they're like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Paycheck not required. If it wasn't state law, I could probably get those guys to work for free. But that's fine. It's all right. I'm okay with that one. You mentioned your line cooks, the extra certifications, especially on the back end. Is that something that you guys integrate or require them to go out on their own to get? Or is that something they have to kind of go out on their own to get anyway?
So you have to have your safe food handlers to be in the restaurant at all, which is like a $9.99 class online.
Oh, okay.
And I pay them back.
Yeah. Oh.
So I just need the certification, and then I'll give you the money. So I feel like that's the best way to have done it. I've done it where I've purchased the class and then put it in front of them, and they have like 90 days to do it, and they don't do it. So I'm like, now you purchase it, you bring me the certificate, and then I'll pay you back.
That makes sense.
And that works out the best. But everybody has to have that one. And then the back of the house needs the management one. And the management one is like an 8-hour course.
Yeah.
And it's a really good course. It's more expensive. It's usually about $150. But that one you want your kitchen to have.
Yeah.
It teaches about cross-contamination and how to properly prepare food, hand washing, things like that. And then your generic safety food handlers one is the one everybody has, which is just the basics, which is more just about hand washing, cross-contamination, and those sorts of things. And then the front of the house also has to have their BASSET, which is over-serving, carding, appropriate card, how to tell the difference between a real ID and fake ID. And then obviously the rules of carding, card anybody who looks under 40, cutting people off, and then the difference between pours and, how much a glass of wine versus a beer and a shot of liquor kind of thing.
And then do you deal much with, obviously you do regular health department inspections. Is that an irritation? Is that pretty straightforward? Is that pretty easy process? Or?
It's a pretty easy process. I still get, and I do the same thing no matter what. I've always been a rule follower.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me. Like if I'm driving down the road and I'm going the perfect speed limit and I know I stopped at that stop sign and I see lights go on behind me, I'm immediately nauseous. Like I'm going to vomit. And I know I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just going to barf, right? And I'm the same way like when the health department comes in. And I know I did everything right. Like I label everything. We time temperature everything. Everything's clean. Like we follow a protocol. But still when I see that health inspector come in, I'm going to barf. I'm like immediately my stomach drops. And I'm like, oh, they're here to inspect me, and then they always say, good job, here you go, like, oh, great, and I can't help it. It just is like, I know it's going to be fine, like, everything's done right, but it's still that, like, immediately, like, sense of there's something they're going to see, and then I'm going to get in trouble.
I feel that one.
Yeah.
I had the ATF come through and did my first big inspection. They come through once every 10 years. I got mine on year 3. Son of a bitch. But it's fine-tooth comb. They went through every piece of paperwork we produced in the last 12 months. I'm like, oh my God. Like every
It's
line of
stressful,
ink.
yeah.
I'm like,
And it's like, even though you have your ducks in a row, you're still like, what if I missed a duck?
we had some mistakes in our paperwork and we fired that employee, and then we had another one that left, and I'm like, then he's like, oh, we got a problem here. And I'm like, I know what it is. And he's like, tell me. I'm like, this is what it is. This is what we did to remediate. He doesn't work here anymore for good reason. He's like, okay, you almost got into a bigger situation, but because you've already kind of, thankfully, they, which is weird from the ATF, nobody would think this, but they're actually really good with anybody that self-polices themselves, basically, and says, hey, we know there was an error.
Right.
We understand you screwed up. What did you do to remediate, and what kind of fixtures? They still document it and make notes of it, et cetera, because God forbid they just, move on. But it was actually a surprisingly, painless process. But they came, I had them for 3 or 4 days. They came in.
Wow.
And they were there for all day long going through everything, and I'm just...
It's like, very stressful.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, no, we're just...
Yep.
Hey, and then they're super polite. They're like, hey, can we use your bathroom? If not, it's cool. Go to the gas station. I'm like, you can use the bathroom. I feel like if I say no, this is going to be a lot worse. But yeah, it's like you said, there's not an issue, because as long as you're not, blatantly not doing what you're supposed to, it's a non-event.
Yeah.
It's a non-event. Honestly, dealing with the state police is worse for me than dealing with the feds. The state police intentionally look for stuff to be like, oh, you need to fix this. Oh, they need to justify their paycheck and their existence. I'm like, come on, dude. That's all right.
That's why I'm glad the CMP doesn't visit me, the cotton and polyester police.
That's fair. Okay. Those are my big questions. You got anything else?
No, what's ahead? What's coming this summer?
Ooh, lots of fun stuff. Ooh, one big really cool event I am working with is the Coyote.
Yeah.
They are doing a 60-year birthday party.
Oh, cool.
Anniversary, I don't know what.
Oh, that'll be cool.
I think Chris is trying to call it a birthday party, maybe. So we're trying to get, we'll have music out there, obviously, live remote, car show. We have a couple car shows lined up this summer. And then he's trying to get Rockin' Vodka out there to sign bottles with Cheap Trick, Rick Nielsen, which would be really cool too. So a lot of cool stuff in the works. That event will be probably one of our really big ones. Obviously, our fireworks show every year, and then all of our other little stuff throughout the summer too, plus our car shows.
Nice.
I'm excited.
That'll be neat.
If you could talk to the fireworks guys and get them 10 feet higher, I would appreciate it. I could sit on my deck and drink beer.
Can you see them from your house then?
I can see the tops. There's a tree line over the railroad.
She's going to call and be like, hey, this guy's not showing up 10 feet lower. You got this.
And we're doing it on Friday this year because 4th of July falls on Saturday. It's the 250-year anniversary.
Yep. Yeah.
So the city is doing their big show on Saturday. So we're doing ours Friday. And then I'm trying to remember which one the VFW is doing their party on. I think maybe Thursday.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
So we're trying to coordinate a whole weekend of
4th of July festivities.
Yes.
That'll be a
Exactly.
good time.
Nice.
I love 4th of July.
Yeah.
In my industry. Yeah, everybody loves 4th of July in my industry. It's kind of our thing. Things that go boom. Shocker. Jane, what do you got? Anything new and exciting?
No, not really. It's been busy. So busy I can't think what we're actually doing right now. Although we did get some news today that I can't share quite yet.
Thanks.
Well,
Ooh.
it's cool. It could be really huge for us. Yeah.
Wow, talk about a tease.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
That's
Yeah.
hanging.
No
Yeah.
joke. Well, now my stuff is very unexciting then in comparison.
Maybe once the camera goes off, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Sucks to be you guys.
Let's just say it could change the whole landscape of what we do.
This is now I'm very much intrigued.
Yep.
I'm very cool. Let's see, what do I got going on? I have heat again.
It
I have
is.
heat
It's
in the
nice
building.
in here today.
It's actually not
Yes, I'm not seeing my breath.
Yeah, it's not frigid. The electric heater is just a little bump, but it wasn't bad in here before.
No,
it
was it?
really
It's nice
wasn't.
in here.
It is. It's actually very comfortable in here right now. We got new hats. You guys, I got my hats picked up today. So
Did you get them picked up? Good.
I did finally,
Good.
and I got my fancy hoodie,
Yep.
or not hoodie, my sweatshirt. But I need to get T-shirts ordered through you guys next because I've had a couple people ask about those. So.
Yeah, we just got Stedders done today, so
It's only been 6 months. He's very upset about
it's
it.
not 6 months. It's been 3 weeks. Yep, exactly.
Oh, he sent me to the shop and he's like, "Can you just ask him if they got the hats done? No rush. I'm not worried about it." I'm like, "What the heck, man? Where is this?" Stephanie comes running out to the tattoo shop. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "What?" Everybody's confused, and I'm just sitting there.
Yep.
I'm just saying, I'm the messenger here, but no,
Do you sell your merch at the storefront?
that's at my shop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the hats are at the shop. 100% of them, I'm literally out of pocket buying the merch. 100% of it's going back into the building. So to get
That's cool.
this rolling, because we had a little loan scare there for a hot second where we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get money to finish this. I'm like, well, I guess we're going to be living off of baseball caps and T-shirts here. But either way, though, because a lot of the stuff that now that we've got the social media page rolling, a lot of people are excited about a lot of really cool concepts that we want to do, and it's going to require more than we can probably finance. So there's going to be a lot of swag and additional ways of financing all that to kind of make that happen so we can get the coolest product humanly possible rolling for this. Because our launches, we're shooting for May, and that'll be a neat little party once we get that figured out and rolling. So
Oh, that'll be cool.
that'll be
I know a
neat.
caterer.
I think I know how to get a hold of you for that. We might be able to have a good time with that,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, with that being said, any final notes?
I don't think so.
Shane,
Good.
you're happy? I'm happy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'll get this posted the next couple of days. It's going to be a wild weekend. Like I said, I'm in Vegas Monday, so I don't know how I'm going to get this cut, but I'll probably do it tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you like this video, like, share, comment, all that good jazz. Get the algorithm to grow it and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for everybody for tuning in, and have a wonderful evening.